I honestly wasn't going to do a video on Star Wars and the new show, The Acolyte. Quite frankly, Star Wars is dead. There is no comeback, no project that's going to save it, no light at the end of the tunnel. It's dead. It's dead, and it was pronounced dead at around about episode 6 of The Mandalorian season 3. I don't know why. I mean, have a look at this. It's a great scene, right? Many will say that it was dead way before that, and they'd be right. I guess I was being hopeful when I said the magic would return, and thought the magic would return, but it's not going to. Because after hearing about the Acolyte, I now know that there is no magic to be sprinkled on this dead corpse of a franchise. There is no Prince Charming that's going to come along and kiss it back to life, and even if there was, a certain person wouldn't be very happy. Not him, her.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Have they actually fired her yet, by the way? Just asking for a friend. Because I think I'm on the darkest timeline, and I may sound like a bit of an old f***er here, but back in my day, movies weren't sold on the strength of their actors and directors' outright political views. Unless you're talking about the 1935 German film, Triumph of the Will, which is not really a film. Now, hear me out. Every human has opinions and political views, and there's no way that their inherent views, conscious or subconscious, won't influence their work. But when watching the press junkets for the films in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, we never had moments like this.
I would say arguably the gayest Star Wars, I mean, by a considerable.
Well, I mean, white people crying actually was the goal.
You can't look and see that Anakin blowing up the Death Star possibly killed millions and millions of people.
What the f***? Where are the press officers for these multi-billion-dollar companies? How are these people not being scolded? Why are they not accurately talking about the narratives of their own TV shows and movies? These junkies are in place to sell, yes, strangely enough, sell the content these people are making. I honestly don't care or want to talk about
dog shit.
That is The Acolyte, nor do I want to have a go at the actors and the producers who are being allowed to get away with not selling their product. I want to talk about the people at board level within these studios who are allowing this to happen. If I was the owner of a multi-billion-dollar company who successfully purchased a successful franchise and studio for $4 billion, I would make damn sure it's not run into the ground by petulant children on press junkets. Listen, I try to avoid chats like this on my channel as I don't really have the energy for it, but Star Wars is a male-dominated franchise when it comes to the viewers, and it always has been. That's not opinion, that's max, and it's going to take a whole load of Terence Howard type mathematical genius for that to ever change. It never will.
My intention was to rebuild the periodic table.
What the f***? But what will happen, and what's happening right now, is that the next Disney Star Wars movie will fail financially. This current TV show, like the last few, will be watched by the few and not the many. And Disney will eventually sell Star Wars to Apple or to Amazon, or just keep hold of it and keep releasing TV shows and movies that very few people watch. I cannot remember in the history of business that I've seen such an immensely poor handling of such an immensely sure thing. It honestly reminds me of the movie The Producers by Mel Brooks, where two con men purposely create a Broadway show called Springtime for Hitler, in the hopes that it'll flop and they can keep the investment money. Only difference here being at the end of the film, it turns out to be the biggest hit on Broadway. And here in real life, Star Wars has turned out to be the biggest ship of cash to sea since the rich folk died on the Titanic back in 1912. Right, I'm off to watch a classic film where politics are handled in an awful way that makes me want to actually give a shit about what's being said. Right, I'm gone. Big love until next time.
C'est moi qui parle là. Oh, c'est à moi que tu parles. C'est mec, c'est moi qui parle, son cul. C'est à moi qui parle, putain. C'est à moi que tu parles comme ça, mec.